Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. It is the day after Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving dinner, whether it was friends, family, alone, with your loved ones, whatever. How you avoided politics, I don't know, because this is going to be a little political. Now, the fact is, I don't care if you're a Trump supporter or not. What I'm going to be talking to about is pure reality. You can believe what's out there. That's your option at the end of the day. But we're going to talk about the Trump tariffs. Now, there is so much misinformation out there about the Trump tariffs that basically this is good for the consumer. The reality is it's very simple. When something costs more for a company, they don't swallow that cost. They're going to pass it on to you. That's how they make money. So if something costs $100 and now it costs $125, Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, Target, I don't care who you pick, are they going to swallow those $25? Probably not. They will pass it on to you because that's just the way it works when it comes to business, right? We've all done the same thing, even me as a business owner. If my costs increase, I don't swallow those costs. Many times throughout my career, I had the court costs go up, whether it was a divorce case or a bankruptcy case. Did I swallow those costs? No. The client had to pay more in costs. My fees were separate, and this is not going to be any different. Now, supposedly, the Trump tariff, and if you look at everything regarding Trump and his tariffs, he's gone from 25%, 100%, 1,000%, 3,000%. I saw the other day one of his video clips. The Trump tariff is nothing more than a tax on you. Again, if something costs $100 normally and today costs $125, you just lost $25. The theory that the company is going to lose $25 on every product is absolutely absurd unless the goal is to drive those companies into bankruptcy. Now, when the $25 goes up and it comes out of your pocket, this is what you need to be concerned about. The reality of the situation is we don't know. And by the way, I got to go back to John D here for a second. I didn't even write that in my notes, but I'm going to talk about it now. He even said he was going to give something like 100% or 1,000% tariff on John Deere for moving their factories out and into Mexico. That never happened. That was never discussed. John Deere had no intent on doing that. But it kind of shows, basically the attitude of Trump's trying to single out certain companies, even if it's not true. Now, you could ask yourself, well, this will definitely work. Just to be clear, trade wars don't work. They have never worked. They're never going to work. The theory is that there's too much fentanyl coming in from Mexico. And so they're trying to prevent that. And the way to do that is, issue this tariff to Mexico, all the issues with the border crossings, etc. There's also Canada's in the mix and China for the products that they give us. Now, they've been talking about fentanyl coming in from Canada. I don't know how much fentanyl would come in from Canada. I don't think Canada is known for their drug trade, but whatever. Let's assume that that's true. The reality is, if the drugs are coming through and we're now issuing this 25% or whatever percent tax on consumers, we are ultimately paying the price for that, which there would be no logic to that. I think all countries involved have a vested interest in stopping drug trade. So even if drugs are being pushed out of their country into another one, doesn't eliminate the problem. There's still drugs in their country and they need to figure out a way to get rid of it. So the whole fentanyl crisis, I get it. There's already studies that have been out there that just by devoting more money to education and therapy type situations, counseling, it has reduced the amount of fentanyl being consumed, and that price um, that has been trajectory downward. I think that's my dog moving around. The trajectory moving downward this year for the first time in a long time. But let's go back to these tariffs. Now, the trade war with China. We consume basically everything that China produces, right? We don't really produce much of anything these days. Well, if you go out there and you look this up, and again, I've always said don't depend on everything that I tell you, you're going to see that the problem with that is we already went through this once before. See, you can't ignore history. In 2016 through 2020, when Trump was the president, he issued these tariffs across the board to China and Mexico. And guess what happens? Bankruptcies for farmers went to an all-time high. And guess what? They got bailed out with approximately $15 billion. Bailouts. Sounds kind of like socialism, doesn't it? Doesn't it sound like entitlements? Sure, we'll call it aid or something else, but that's all it really is. Just because you change the wording on something doesn't change the reality of what it is. Now, in 2016, guess who Mexico is buying their cheese from? From us, from Wisconsin farmers. And same farmers who produce soybeans that they sell over to China. And guess what? Because of the tariffs, there was no buying or selling or transporting. So, in order to avoid them going into bankruptcy, which many did, we bailed them out. That came out of our pocket. So, the reality is, issuing a tax across the board, it just means that country is going to retaliate against us. And it's just that simple. Now, there's other theories out there that this means, oh, this will get domesticated, meaning our countries will start now producing these things that we buy from China. Good luck with that one. First place has been proven over and over again that that's not going to happen at those prices. Any business owner, you can research this on your own, go through Google or whatever you use. You'll see that they said the products that they're fabricating in China to then ship it over here is not going to be done quicker, faster, or cheaper just because it's produced here. The bottom line is their wage system is different than ours. So whatever costs $1 to make over there, it's going to cost $10 over here. Guess who pays for that difference? You do. It's that simple. It's always been that simple. So there's a couple things I want to go over. My main goal of today's video was I am about debt management, right? There are other out there experts when it comes to wealth management. I've always thought if you have debt, you can't worry about wealth because you got to get rid of the debt first before we can figure out how to build our wealth, which is why I do what I do with these videos on my blog and everything else. But here's the thing. We don't know, right? Trump has said he's going to do that. Will he do it? I don't know. Maybe it goes up to 100%. Maybe 0% and nothing gets done. But the situation is this now the time to get into more debt? Thinking conservatively, if we go with the 25% rule that Trump has said himself, he said it 2 or 3 days ago on Truth Social, how is that going to affect you? Endless studies have been out there that show this could have the effect of a $4,000 cost to the average household per year. That's $300 a month, a little over $300 a month. Do you have an extra $300 a month lying around? If you do, send them to me, right? I'll take your money, no problem there. But that's what you have to look at. If this is possible, if this is true, that this is going to cost you $4,000 more per year. Let's say it's 3,000. I don't care what the number is. If you don't have that ability to earn $3,000 or $4,000 more per year, you just got $4,000 into debt. Let's suppose everything goes well and that somehow all this magically disappears after 2 years and something was pulled off by Trump. You are still $8,000 more in debt, aren't you? This isn't going to help your situation. So if the price of gas goes down, the price of eggs, bacon, all these things that they're talking about, washing machines, how fast is it going to go down to make it worth your while to pay down that $8,000? So if the $100 washer that went up to 125 is now down to 75, you ain't buying a washer, you ain't getting those $25. And whatever you can save in groceries, let's even say it's $100 a month, just to throw a hypothetical out there, you're still short $200 every month. So why am I telling you this? Because part of debt management is being prepared. The same way you look at wealth management and you look at the stocks and you look at the trends and you try to figure out what's going to happen with this stock based on all the information you have, whether it's through debt, whether it's your cash on hand, all these issues apply to you in reverse when it comes to debt. You should consider twice. And again, we're going straight by President-elect Trump's words. 25% is going to cost you more to get all these products. And if that's the case, can you withstand the storm? Is now the time to get into more debt? Only you know that based on your financial situation. But I will tell you, perception is reality, which is another danger. New studies out there are saying that people are confident the economy is doing great. That's basically piggy bank, yeah, Piggy backing. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. Not bank. Piggy bank is money. You see, I'm on the right subject here. But they're riding on those coattails of the economy's getting better because of Trump and everything else, and it's already better. Trump is not in office. So whatever's making the economy better, like a very extremely low unemployment rate, and you can look that one up just to confirm that I'm not making these things up, is really from this administration. And so when a president jumps into office, it's not like magically everything changes from one day to the next. All these things take time. So, for example, there were complaints about the inflation. Well, the Biden administration inherited inflation because of the Trump administration. And we got to blame COVID for that too. There's no denying that one. But Biden isn't going to walk in there and one day fix all the problems. It's just not possible, not with the mechanisms that we have in place. So it took a couple years to get out of it. Inflation is doing well, but the consumers are saying the economy is doing great because again, they're focusing on the Trump issues and we're going to go after these tariffs and everything else. That's why I say perception is reality. Just because consumers think the economy is doing well doesn't mean it actually is. And just because the economy is doing bad doesn't mean consumers actually think that it is. It's this thing in reverse. What's up is down and what's down is up. So thinking that the economy is going great now, great. The problem is, what if we get hit with this 25% tariff or potentially more? What is that going to do to your pocket? So before you jump into more debt, think about the situation you're facing. This could be an issue where all of a sudden, if this tariff comes in, you've got into another two, three, $4,000 debt plus whatever moves you made now that caused you to get into more debt, whatever purchase you made. Refinance your home, for example, to redo the bathroom. Could have lost another 20 grand there. So part of wealth management is tied in directly to debt management. And that means being careful what you're doing 3, 6 months down the road. Don't guide yourself by your feeling, right? Look around you. Did you just get a raise? Great. Then we know that situation applies to you. But what happens when those tariffs come in and now it's an extra few grand out of your pocket at the end of the year? You're going to get more and more into that hole. Now, in reality is, I hope there is no tariff. I hope we do great. I hope the economy explodes. But again, we got to be careful with all the signs. And so just taking Trump at his word right now means maybe now's the time to hold back and try to figure out what we're going to do. I'll give you an example. I was thinking of selling. We have a home that we're thinking of moving out of state and everything. And now we're thinking, wait a minute. Chances are, I think, and I could be wrong on this one, that the real estate market's going to go up again. That could be by controlling the interest rates and create, again, these situations where we see this bubble. That's awesome when you're going to sell your house, but if you're going to buy another house, you're losing money because the reality is you're now buying that house that 2 months ago cost less. You're not going to buy it at that, let's say it was worth 100, but now it's worth 150. You're paying taxes and insurance based on 150. So you might be losing money. So that's even one reason why my wife and I said we should hold back and deal with this house issue and see just what happens all around. So let me see my notes here. Do I have anything else? The domestication, no, I already went over that. There is one more thing I want to talk about, global inflation. The theory, we always have to parse words. I know I'm a lawyer and people complain about that, but when people say he was running fast, lawyers always say, define fast. Fast compared to who? To the fastest man in the world or compared to the average, average Joe on the street? But we have to do that to get a better understanding of things. And so you might read global inflation is going to go down with these Trump tariffs, and you get all excited and you say, you see, I knew this was a brilliant idea. Global inflation minus you. See, let's go back to the law of supply and demand that we learned in grade school. If we are not buying the products that China is producing, then what ends up happening with those products? They've got inventory that they got to dump, right? Law of supply and demand, too much supply. So what do? They negotiate with whatever countries and say, we used to sell this to $1 for the United States. Now we're going to sell it to you for 75 cents. What is that going to do? That's going to lower inflation for those countries. So globally, it might be great, or for other countries, it's just not necessarily going to be great for us. This is based on common sense. You don't have to be an economist, although you can read all the endless articles that are out there from credible sources confirming what I'm telling you. But if something costs $25 more to make, then that is going to get passed on to you. It's that simple. Never in the history of business, when concrete was up not too long ago, the prices of concrete go up. Where your house is getting cheaper, they were getting more expensive. When it costs more money to make a car, whether because of taxes or any other reason, because the steel is getting harder to get and the supply is down, the price is going to go up. It is that simple. So the whole point of today is just think twice about what you're going to do. Because if these tariffs do come in, and by the way, the president pretty much has the authority. This is not so much of an issue with Congress, because these are powers that have transferred over time to more and more to the president. That's how he did it in 2000, his administration to 2016. And again, history is your perfect example. Just research how many farmers, what was the $15 billion that went into a farming aid package just because of the taxes to China, or the tariffs, which were for the soybeans, and then from Mexico, for their cheese. So we already have that history. And obviously, those who forget their history are condemned to repeat it. So don't listen to the political hype. Think common sense. When things cost more, you're going to pay for it. It is that simple. All right. So any questions or comments, hit me up, make a comment down in the section below. I'll be more than happy to respond to you. I'm getting new subscribers every day. So thank you. I do appreciate that. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. I hope next year in Thanksgiving, I'm not talking about these tariffs have nailed us. So let's see. Let's see how that goes. And always like and subscribe to my videos. All right. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you at the next video.